Salve te parentes disciplique. Hello, parents and students. Jeff Davis here, Latin teacher at Cambridge High School. I figured I'd like to start off by answering the question, why should anybody take Latin? I mean, that's a question a lot of people ask, so let's start there. Here is a list that has been compiled from students and a little bit from me of why Latin is even an important thing for someone to consider. So how about we start at the top left up there. You get the same teacher throughout. I am the only Latin teacher at Cambridge, and so as long as you take Latin, you got me as your teacher, which I think is a good thing. It's great for me because I get the same students throughout the time, and so we get to develop a great relationship throughout high school, and that's cool. Classes tend to be smaller, and a lot of people take Spanish. Good number of people take French. Not a ton of people take Latin. So if you're looking for a way to stand out from your peers in the world language department, taking Latin will definitely do that. It is unique. Next, it says AP Latin. On the other side, it says National Latin Honor Society. Yes, we eventually go pretty deep in this language. So you can get college level credit, college level classes, and be inducted into the National Latin Honor Society after 5 semesters of earning an A. So we do go deep. On the other side of it, there is no PBAs. Some people end up choosing Latin and opting out of Spanish and French because they could not handle the speaking and the listening part. Not a lot of that happening in Latin. We focused a lot on reading. Like that's what our goal is, to read Latin. You will be better at English because you've taken Latin. A lot of ways on this sheet that comes out to play. Most of the words in English that we use every day come straight from Latin words. And so the more Latin you learn, the better you're going to know English. And that's true for the mechanics of English as well, the grammar. I remember being in high school when I took Latin, I began to understand how English worked better than I did in a lot of my English classes. And hopefully you'll find the same is true for you because you're coming at English by way of Latin. Latin is very linear, very logical, and so by learning this language, you're going to improve your analytical skills in other areas of your study as well. So Latin will make you a better writer, a better speaker, a better communicator. That's a guarantee. And these classes are small, and we track together over the years, so it's almost like a cohort. So we become kind of like a family, year after year with the same classmates, and that's pretty cool. In addition to all the language components, we do look at culture and mythology, and so that's a highlight for a lot of people, and I do love to see all the creativity that comes from students when we get beyond the language itself. But let's hear from other students. I've asked some alumni why they were glad that they took Latin. Here's what they had to say. One says, Latin was easily my favorite class of the day. It felt like being part of something bigger than myself. For what was said to be a dead language, I never felt more alive than when I studied Latin. Another says, taking Latin was a surefire way of making lifelong friends. Rather than being dead, Latin is alive and thriving to this day. I still see Latin every day, even as an engineering student. Another says, Latin greatly improved my English grammar and vocabulary. I love studying the culture and history of ancient Rome. Another says, I looked forward to every single class. I never left without laughing and having so much fun. Mr. Davis creates a fantastic learning environment where you're free to be yourself with no judgment. It's truly unlike any class I've ever taken. Another says, learning Latin helped my English vocabulary. I'm able to intuit meanings because I know the roots of words. I also really valued the community I built by being in Latin. I had so much fun in Latin class. I miss it dearly. Still, others said, taking Latin helped me develop leadership skills I'd need in college. Mr. Davis's classroom is an environment where everyone is welcome and encouraged to be themselves. Latin opened so many doors for me. It led to my first tutoring job, which has developed into a business, and Latin has come up in several interviews. I cannot recommend joining Latin enough. Another student says, Latin helped me strengthen study skills and confidence in my abilities. It gave me a new understanding of the English language and unique insight into the modern world. Latin at Cambridge is a community, and I gained lifelong friends and mentors. And finally, one says, Latin made me a better English speaker, reader, and writer. Taking Latin wasn't just a graduation requirement. I looked forward to class every day. So I hope you say yes to Latin and find that a lot of these things will be true for you as well. But if you want to learn more about what is coming in terms of the classes, here's what you can expect. Latin 1 turns into 2, and 2 is where we differentiate between honors and on level. I'll get into that in the next few slides. Latin 3 honors comes, and then we diverge again into AP Latin or Latin 4 honors. And finally, for those who have taken Latin in middle school, you will have time during high school to get into Latin 5 honors, where it becomes almost you choosing what you want to read in Latin. It's pretty cool. A lot of people think Latin just progresses, you know, one after another, but actually it's more like this. Every year will build upon itself while including everything that has come before. You know, what we learn in Latin 1 will still show up in AP Latin, so it just sort of all grows. So if you're looking to learn more about the specific classes, here they come. Latin 1, of course, we learn the basics, get everything started, and then we get into Latin 2. So here's the difference between on-level and honors Latin. On-level Latin, the Latin 2, it's designed to be the termination of the study. I do not require as rigorous of mastery. My assessments will be a little easier than the honors. You may have a few fewer assignments, but the intention is that you are not intending on going to Latin 3. If you are, here's the difference. The honors class, I do require more. It's more rigorous, it's tougher, the assessments are harder because you are planning to go to Latin 3 honors the following year, and so we really got to work for it. But you do get rewarded with those 7 points at the end of each semester. That's pretty cool. So Latin 3 honors, this will be the last of everything. Through Latin 2, you've learned about 85 to 90% of the mechanics of the language you need, and we'll finish out everything in Latin 3, mostly during the first semester. Then in semester 2, we get into primary sources, where we'll be reading Virgil and Pliny and Tacitus. And again, 7 points at it because it's an honors course. From here, the road diverges again into either Latin 4 honors or AP Latin. If you are looking to take AP Latin, it is, yes, a college level course where there's an AP exam at the end of the year. We focus on 2 primary sources. One is Virgil's Aeneid, and the other is Julius Caesar's De Bello Gallico. And we switch back and forth all year long between the 2 sources. And then throughout the year, we will throw in other sight readings from various authors along the way too. All of the assessments will be in the AP style because I want you to be fully prepared in May for what's coming your way. And again, 7 points because it's an AP class. However, if you're looking to continue Latin for a 4th year, but you're not looking for the rigor of an AP course, then Latin 4 honors is for you. For the first semester, you track right along with AP Latin. We will be in the same room doing the same work. But your assessments will be much easier. They tend to be more project-based, so you can still show mastery of material and content by some more alternative means, usually a creative project of some kind. Though I will still require some of the quizzes and tests along the way to show that you're still mastering the language itself. When the second semester comes along, you will have a little bit more freedom in what you study. And you can select what Roman authors you would rather read yourselves and sort of branch off from the rigor of AP at that point. And again, 7 points into the class. And then lastly, for those who took Latin 1 in 8th grade, you will have time in your high school career path to take Latin 5 honors. It's almost like an independent study. You will choose what you want to read, what authors do you want, and I will provide selection from those authors, and you just get to read them. And then between one class and the next, I will go through what you have read and make annotations and provide those to you, so the next day you can make corrections and keep on reading. It really is a pretty cool experience for those who are looking for it. And that is what the Latin program at Cambridge High School looks like. So if you got any questions, there's my email. Come find me, talk to me. Love to chat and hope to see you soon. Valete omnes.